A lot of young baseball players kind of go through that same thing where they're fighting in the 3A, 4A space.
I was always in love with basketball. I think it was just the pace. I was a little shooter, loved it, and thought I would play basketball,
So after your career at Louisville, getting drafted into the MLB,
that stuff matters to how the performance on the field translates. It's everybody genuinely playing for each other type thing.
Welcome to Behind the Grind, a series that will look to uncover the stories behind some of the elite athletes, professionals, and coaches, exploring the mindset, the values, and the experiences that shape their success. I am your host, Will Hanke, and through conversation, I want to learn from their grind. Today's guest pitched 2 seasons at the University of Louisville before being taken in the 2015 MLB draft by the Yankees, then went on to play professionally for 5 different teams. Now, post-playing career, he is a polished golfer and a developing pickleball player. Please welcome from New Albany, Indiana, Josh Rogers. Josh, thank you so much for joining us
What
today.
an intro, bro. What an intro. Yeah. Thank you for the pickleball shout-out. I appreciate it.
Of course.
That's awesome.
I've heard a lot about your game, just that raw athleticism.
Is that coming from your dad?
Yeah, it is. He plays more than anybody. So, long time no see. I saw you yesterday. You came to our practice. You said you had seen a Chris Mack practice, you'd seen a Kenny Payne practice, and you wanted to see a PK practice. So what did you kind of take away from practice yesterday?
Man, I was really impressed. You guys really getting after it, competing. Dude, it was awesome to watch. The intensity, the organization, the level of focus. You can tell there's a definite plan when you guys are rolling out there on the court. It was super cool to watch. I mean, I've always wanted to be a hooper and love basketball. Obviously, being from Indiana, played in high school, so just getting to see that, that kind of level of play is really neat.
And we'll talk a little bit about that basketball career you mentioned. But before that, I want to open up with the Eric Would You Rather segment. I know, obviously, you're great friends with Eric Wood, and he's a huge friend of ours. So we're going to start with the Would You Rather question. Would you rather have won an MLB championship ring or won a Cy Young award during your career? And I'm going to encourage you to be super honest. Eric wanted me to make sure you were very honest answering this question.
For me personally, I would definitely rather win a World Series. I think that'd be super cool. I think for me, because I don't think I was ever an ace type pitcher, so that was never an expectation of mine, maybe to be on a team one day to compete at that level. So, that would be, that's everybody's dream, is to win a World Series and compete with your teammates like that. So
absolutely.
That's honest. That's real. That's real.
I believe it. I can hear it in your voice. So we'll start with just kind of your story, growing up across the bridge in Southern Indiana and attending New Albany High School. How was it kind of growing up in Southern Indiana and attending New Albany? And where did the baseball influence come from?
It was crazy. I played baseball, basketball my whole life. It was always basketball season. I was always in love with basketball. I think it was just the pace. I was a little shooter, loved it, and thought I would play basketball. I just thought that. And then, we had a good little league career, for what it was. We, made a run at going to Williamsport, playing in for the World Series there. Fell up short, then kind of rolled that into high school. I made the varsity team, baseball. I was on the freshman team, basketball. So, there was kind of foreshadowing there, I guess. I had a really good freshman year. And then it was a big, I was on the big, summer circuit playing and that stuff. And it just kind of transitioned to, I was going to be a baseball player at that point. So, put the basketball shoes up for a couple years, didn't play my sophomore, junior year, and then, really just focused on baseball.
Yeah. And so it's good to hear some things about your basketball career. Really, the only thing I knew previously was, I remember witnessing you walk out of the Kever Center without shoes on. The Kever Center is the Louisville practice facility where we practice. You were walking out without shoes on. I'd like to ask what kind of went down there. Why didn't you have shoes?
Yeah, I was feeling myself a little bit watching the practice, thinking I could shoot. And I challenged, what was his name, Tyler?
Yeah, Tyler Johnson.
Tyler Johnson. Challenged him to a little pig game after practice. And he's in a little more basketball shape than me. Clipped me PIG to nothing. And
wow.
I walked out barefoot because I put some shoes on the line for him. So shout out to him. At least he got a new pair of kicks.
And yeah, you said you were a shooter too, running a little white boy as a shooter.
I know, man, but I'm gonna have to show. I'll show you. We'll go one day. We're gonna do it.
It is. I understand. Tyler Johnson. He's a heck of a player, especially when he's got the right tights on.
Yeah,
so that's a respectable loss. So let's kind of talk about, obviously, you played your high school career at New Albany, and then making the decision to come to Louisville. Why did you choose to come to Louisville, and what did it mean for you to, obviously you're not playing in your home city, but growing up close to Louisville and probably being a fan growing up, what did it mean to you to play for that?
I mean, I think it's probably the feeling you're having right now. You know, growing up, like there's no pro sports teams here, so it's like we're Louisville fans. Like, and I know you have been to your whole life, and like we're Louisville basketball fans. Like that's what we like watching. That's what makes our city go. And at the time, I mean, there was no better place to, you know, football team was rolling, basketball team was rolling, baseball team was rolling. It's like, man, what a perfect opportunity to get to play here, you know, be close to home with my family getting to watch, and just the city, like playing in Louisville. Like I love the basketball team, I love the football team, love the baseball team, obviously. And, you know, Coach McDonald was awesome. So perfect opportunity, and, you know, I was a fan first, so it was kind of an easy decision.
Yeah, it's kind of really cool to kind of be on both sides, growing up being a fan, and then having your 2 seasons being a huge part of that successful 2 years. Yeah. Part of that success, you know, you were 2-time all-regional tournament team. You beat Kennesaw State in the Super Regional in 2014 to advance to the College World Series. Just kind of looking back, just talk about your time at Louisville and how it prepared you for the next step in your career.
I think obviously the teams we had were crazy. You know, so many big leaguers, so many first rounders. Like, you know, our teams were really talented, but we were all so tight while we were here. It was such a good like atmosphere, good culture that, you know, Coach McDonald like instilled in us. But I think that talent level, just like playing with all those guys, you know, like Will and the Birdie brothers and Funkhauser. I mean, dude, it's crazy the amount of players like we've had through that stretch. And at the time, you don't really know, you know. I think it's a little different like in basketball. Like obviously we all know like Mikel's like different, and, you know, he's an NBA prospect. For us, it was like, man, we had like Funkhauser, who was projected first rounder, but it really was crazy just, you know, how everybody kind of progressed, and really through the culture of the organization like that Coach McDonald runs. It was awesome.
And that really speaks to, like you said, the culture, and just having so many guys in one program that have found success. That means there's really something special being built internally with that program and what they preach with the culture.
100%. I mean, and that's what they, you know, it's all about the team first. It was all about winning, and like, it sounds corny and stuff, but like, that stuff like matters to like how the performance on the field translates. It's like everybody like genuinely playing for each other type thing. And like the professional world is just so different than that. Not that, you know, the teams and guys on contracts and stuff and are comfortable in the big leagues, obviously, you know, they're playing with each other, but just competing to get to those points, man, it's, you know, it's a dog eat dog world. Everybody fights for themselves. And, you know, at times you have to be selfish and like, you know, look out for yourself because it's your career, and that's what matters, especially kind of the level I played at, the 3-4A level kind of thing is what we call it, just back and forth and, you know, grinding and having little stints in the big leagues. But I mean, that's just part of it. It's just such a different culture.
Yeah, and there's so much to take from it, just having to navigate through kind of those tough times where you have to really, you know, you just got to trust yourself and work hard and trust your training. And so, you know, you mentioned some of the great things. Obviously, you had a polished career at Louisville. I remember at one point you got in a little bit of a fight with a third base coach, I think during one of the postseason runs. Can you tell that story?
Yeah, I mean, like that just goes back to like just there's so much intensity, so much like build up and anticipation in these moments. Like, I mean, dude, like I blacked out. You know what I'm saying? Like I was just pumped up, going crazy, and, you know, just acting a fool. Like, you know, I'm a kid. I'm a, you know, 19, 20-year-old kid at the time. Like, it's just like you just are overwhelmed with emotion. I'm going nuts. So it's so funny because, you know, I'm going nuts on third base coach, Cal State Fullerton, blah, blah, blah. Like, we end up losing the game. So I get drafted. I'm on a bus with one of the teams and introducing myself, and they're like, like they knew, like, he's like, I went to Cal State Fullerton. I know who you are. Like, you're a douchebag, you know? Like, I'm like, bro, I promise. Like, that was, you know, it's just being crazy. That's how we played. Everybody's in college baseball. It's hoo-rah-rah. It's cheerleader type stuff, you know, coming off the field. And, you know, some people like it, some people hate it. And I never was really like that kind of guy, I guess. But just being in the moment, it's like, screw it, I'm about to turn up. Like, whatever.
Hell yeah. You're a competitor. That's just how it is.
Yes.
You said it's a dog-eat-dog world. So after your career at Louisville, getting drafted into the MLB, was that always a dream for you growing up? I remember you said you played in that Little League World Series. So was getting drafted into the MLB, was that always a dream you saw for yourself?
Yeah, no, honestly. And I never have taken, like, I don't think I've ever taken myself too serious or, like, you know, anything I'm doing, you know, too serious to a fault maybe. But I think that's also kind of why I had some type of success, in that field. It's like, you can't take yourself too serious. You can't be, some people can, I just can't. So to say from the time I was 12, I wanted to be drafted, I just never really thought that was a realistic goal. You know what I mean? So as I grew and pitched better and, my junior year in high school, sophomore summer going into junior year, started really getting some interest from a bunch of colleges and MLB teams that junior year. And then senior year, I was going to my senior year. It was teams are coming to games. I had meetings with teams in high school. They bring in their scouts and meet with your family, meet with you and seeing if you're ready for that level. Luckily, I was not. So luckily I wasn't and got injured and came to school. It was a blessing in disguise, but it's pretty interesting. So no, I don't think it was my dream as a kid, but it progressively grew. It's holy cow, I can really do this thing. So
yeah, and that's really, really obviously, just working your butt off your entire career and having that moment to just be able to really realize how far you've come. Like you said, you didn't expect it your whole life, and just as things progressed and you continued to work, it became more and more achievable for you. 100%,
dude. And that was the weird thing. It was you go to college. I became a draft eligible sophomore, and I was I didn't even really know. I was hoping yes, I would love to get drafted. I didn't get taken, in the first couple rounds. So it's you're probably gonna go back to school. I get drafted in the 11th round, and it was after the first 10 rounds, it's just different. So I didn't know if I was going to leave or not, and worked out a deal, and was man, it was one of the tougher decisions I've ever had to make for sure.
And so like you said, you were drafted in the 11th round, weren't sure what your move was going to be. What was the actual experience when you got that call, when you knew it was official that you had been drafted? What was that moment?
So it's weird. I was about to leave for summer ball to go play in the Cape Cod League, because I thought for sure I was coming back to school, right? And those first 2 rounds, the draft was 3 days at the time. So I didn't go on day 1. Obviously, it's first and second round. Day 2 goes by, it's rounds 3 to 10. And that's where if I was going to leave as a sophomore, I thought that's where I would probably hopefully get picked on day 2. So I remember having a meeting with Coach Williams. He asked me, he's have you gotten picked? I was no, I haven't gotten picked yet. I'm heading to the Cape tomorrow or whatever. So I wake up the next morning and I get a call from a scout, Mike Gibbons, great dude, one of my close buddies for a long time, and now after playing and stuff, but he was the scout. He ended up drafting me, told me the Yankees selected me, and I was oh wow, it's just kind of thanks, what I mean. I thought I was going back to school, so go to play in the Cape Cod League for half the summer, pitched pretty well up there, and worked out a deal with them to go turn pro, and I thought it was a cool opportunity, and it was a perfect opportunity, and luckily, it worked out, I guess.
Your first few seasons professionally, a lot of young baseball players kind of go through that same thing where they're fighting in the 3A, 4A space. Just everybody's trying to fight to improve their career. And so can you kind of talk about that grind and how hard it is competing against guys from all over the world that are competing for the same spots, and what you kind of took from that?
Yeah, it's wild, man. It's I always say I was never the best pitcher on my team. So it's I didn't have that pressure of being the ace pitcher or whatever, but also it's when you're that 3, 4, 5 starter on a rotation, it's man, your job it's a revolving door. So coming up in the Yankees organization with so many good players, so many good prospects, so it's you had to just put up numbers and post numbers and stay healthy, and just things kind of had to go your way in a sense. Obviously the work and the preparation's important, but it's you just got to post and put up numbers at the end of the day. It's you got to go out there and pitch. You got to pitch every 5th day, every 6th day that they ask you to when you need to start, stay healthy, pitch well, and then you move up. So it's a long grind. It's, it's shorter for some guys, the high prospect guys, they're flying through the systems and they're ready though. They're just, it's a different level of play. So the grind is tough, man. It is not easy. It's a vicious long season. It's hard on the body. It's hard on the mind. It's hard on our families. And, it was cool to have gotten to play for that extended period of time, but just the grind of it is man, it'll wear you down.
Yeah. I can't even imagine. And as a pitcher, obviously a lot of your own success depends on yourself. But during that time where you were grinding in the minor leagues, were there some really tight relationships you were able to form with some of your teammates or coaches that were kind of going through that same grind with you?
Bro, it's the best. It was the best thing ever, getting to play with those guys and in the locker room, and just, my mindset, I guess, changed over the years of I get drafted, I'm a young kid, I'm cocky, I feel like I'm running the world, you know what I mean? and it's like all like focused on me and just doing this. And it's like a couple years in, I realized like being with the boys and, you know, being a part of those teams. Awesome, dude. I got friends for life. I was literally just on FaceTime I talked to one of my buddies, you know, 4 or 5 times a week. Like we're FaceTiming each other every day, just catching up, going to weddings and just meeting friends for life. Really. It's a really cool thing. You go to any city in the pretty much any city, random cities, you can find somebody, you know, just for, you know, through the baseball world or the network. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's super unique that a lot of athletes can really relate to, just having those shared experiences with your brothers and your teammates. Those relationships really last a lifetime.
No doubt.
And so, you know, when your major league career officially started, when you were signed by the Baltimore Orioles and they promoted you to the major leagues and you started your first game that night, so how did that moment kind of feel for you after years trying to make it to that point? How did that first start feel for you, and how did you handle that moment?
Dude, it was awesome. That's what you're working for, you know, in the minor leagues. You get drafted, your one goal and mindset is, you know, the big leagues. Like, how do I navigate my way there? Am I ever going to make it there? You see guys moving fast. You see guys getting released. You see guys getting, you know, sent all which ways. It's like, how am I going to create a path to get there? You know, my path, I was super fortunate to get traded for in 2019. Like, I was with the Yankees system. I thought I was going to pitch for the Yankees, but like in reality, that was never in their plans. You know, I don't think. I'd have had to pitch spectacular or do something crazy to really get an opportunity there. But, you know, they gave me the opportunity, trading me to, you know, go to Baltimore and get to have my dream come true, really. So Buck Showalter was our manager. Obviously, everybody knows Buck, you know, Hall of Fame manager, just awesome, first-class dude. So getting to have him as my first, like, major league experience was awesome, man. I had my whole family there. Everybody came up to Baltimore. I pitched against the Blue Jays that night and somehow squeaked out a win. I mean, we put up like 12 runs, so it was hard. If I just got through 5, we were going to be in a good spot.
You held your ground, though. You did what you had to do.
I did exactly what I had to do. I knew we put up a big number. I'm like, man, all I got to do is get 5 innings. I get my first win. So
perfect.
Shout out to our offense.
Got the win. Yeah, big night for the hitting team. Was there anything that kind of surprised you about your first game, but just your first couple seasons playing in the major leagues?
Dude, those guys are crazy, man. They got a different lifestyle and just awesome. Like, it's so cool to see everything. Like, you know, they call it the show for a reason. It's like, dude, it's big time, man. They take care of you up there, and, you know, guys are they're just such good dudes. Everybody's, you know, I ran into a lot of good guys and just, you know, friends for life, like we were talking about. It's really cool to see their lifestyle and to see how they, you know, prepare themselves for their career. And, you know, you get guys on these big deals. It's like superstars and like entities as themselves. It's cool to see. It's cool to see how it all works out from behind the scenes. Yeah. You know, as a guy who just is basically like a fly on the wall. It's been cool.
It is pretty neat, and I kind of get that similar experience being a part of the Louisville basketball team. These guys are, like you said, their own entities. Focusing on the game itself, was there kind of a way in which your mindset and your preparation shifted as you jumped to the major leagues?
You know, I try not to do anything different. You know, the minor leagues is so different than the big leagues. You know, the big leagues, the game itself it's just so much faster, but it's the same game. It's just so much cleaner, and, you know, there's just a different way it's played. So trying to like mold yourself into fitting in and, you know, competing, I think I did that probably too much instead of just like being myself, you know, and just like reserve. You know, it's hard being a young guy in the big leagues. It's hard, you know, not being, you know, one of their guys, one of their prospects. So I always felt like, you know, I tried to, you know, have fun and be respectful and of the veterans and all that kind of stuff. But, you know, just, you know, these guys come in now, it's like they're just making impact immediately and just kind of run with it. So not that I could have done that, but, you know, it's tough. You more so trying to navigate, not stepping on anybody's toes rather than just being yourself. So as you get experience and you get to hang around longer in the big leagues, you get more comfortable. And I think it gets much easier as that timeline progresses.
Absolutely. So after your first season playing professionally with the Orioles, summer of 2019, you underwent a Tommy John surgery, which was your second of your career, your first one being your senior year of high school. And so how was that experience, you know, with that injury and responding from that, and how was it a little bit different or similar to the first time you underwent it?
I mean, it was different. I was older, you know, a little bit older anyway, and I was in the big league, so that was huge to kind of get that treatment of like the whole training staff, big league treatment of, being on rehab, which was great. Just going through it the first time, I was a freshman in college, and then it was like my first year in the big league. So it's kind of both those, a similar situation a little bit, but just having the experience of already going through the rehab process and kind of knowing the exercises and knowing, how to get back, the path back, it was really helpful. And just having that experience was good to get me back.
Yeah. And how long exactly, just for everybody listening and may not be super familiar with that injury? I know it's fairly common in baseball, but what does that recovery process look like?
Yeah, it's slow. It's like the first 4 months is like no throw. The second time I got it was like the first 8 months is no throw. So it's really all about getting your range of motion back, building a ton of scapular strength to kind of support the elbow. Just a ton of rehab. It's very tedious. It's long. It's a 12 to 16 month probably recovery. If you have it twice, it's more of that 14 to 18 months to really get you back. It just depends on the surgeon, really, but it's a long grind. It's, you see guys come back from Achilles and ACL a little bit quicker now, but I think just the throwing motion is so stressful on the elbow, and those tendons and ligaments need time. So it's long.
Yeah. And how, during that time, was there any fear in you, having just played your first season, was there fear that maybe that would have been it for you? And how did you kind of handle that doubt while you were rehabbing and trying to get back to play?
It's just as much as a mental battle as it is physical. I mean, I got buddies who, everybody gets hurt playing baseball pretty much. If you're healthy, you're making a ton of money, because you're on the field and you're performing. So, being hurt's is a difficult thing. But it's all about how you take care of yourself. I mean, one of my best friends, Nick Birdie, is like one of the most health fitness. He's, weighing his food and, he's drinking his protein shakes and he's doing all the stuff to try to be healthy. And, he has the injury bug, he's getting hurt, and it just sucks to watch that for him because he takes care of himself. And I was, probably on the more of, not the opposite end, but lesser, care. And, I was injured, a decent amount, and I had some good runs as well. So you just don't really know. It's tough. It really sucks. It sucks. It's a part of, all sport in general, but it's part of it.
Yeah. And then coming off that, as you progressed in your career, just after that surgery, what did it mean for the Nationals to kind of be that next team to take a chance on you in your career?
Yeah, I mean, I come back from surgery in 2020 was, COVID, whatever, we didn't play. And then coming back in 21, I was healthy. So I got that whole year of COVID to rehab. So it kind of fell, worked out for me, I guess, in a sense. So I come into 21, I was healthy, it felt pretty good. And, I was throwing harder and back to normal pretty much. Made a couple starts for AAA in Norfolk there, and then I got called on an off day and got released. And I was like, holy shit, what am I going to do? The injury sucked. I never made it back. I get released. I thought my career was over in 2021. I come home for 10 days, and I get a call. Nationals are going to sign me. I'm going to start, go to their AAA. So I go to Rochester, and I put a good run together that year, man. I was, it was my first year coming off my second Tommy John. It was kind of rocky, had some good starts, had some bad ones. And there towards the end of the year, I just put 2 really good months together and had crazy confidence and just in my arm and what I was doing and my process. And I was just kind of locked in. It all kind of worked out and stars aligned, and I got an opportunity to start for them, at the end of August, I think it was. I get called back up in 21. So got to be in the rotation, and that was the first time I was in the rotation in the big leagues. I was, just getting the opportunity to start every 5th day is something you can't take for granted. It was super tight.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was tight.
Yeah, it sounds like it. So it sounds like there's been a ton of hills and valleys, just battling injuries and learning how to respond from that and how to do it more than once. Just like you said, it's more of a mental battle than a physical battle.
Yeah, it is, man. And just sticking with the grind and having good trainers. My family has been unbelievable to me and just supporting me and always being there for me, my wife, everybody. It's been, so that makes it easier when it's like that. You're kind of grinding for yourself, obviously, but everybody's supporting you and has put so much into it. It's it's awesome to get rewarded in that sense. And, even though it was only I make 6 starts or whatever, but it was awesome just for everybody to kind of get the gratification to see the work and the process and what everybody's, hoped for. It was cool. That was my best run for sure in the big leagues. It was 6 starts. It was quick, whatever. But, it was awesome, dude. It was cool.
I remember just, having that for something that you love and something you're passionate about. I even remember personally when you were on that run, my dad would be updating me. He'd be like, "Did you see Josh the other night, what he was doing?" So yeah, like you said, your support system, making a lot of people happy, and of course making yourself happy for all the work you had put in. So do you have a moment in your career that you would say is the highlight of your major league career?
I mean, it's pretty sad. It was like the worst Marlins team versus the worst Nationals team in the league. Like, we were down in Miami, and I had a little viral moment. I thought it was, it was goofy because at the time, like, I promised like everybody, like, I wasn't thinking about it like that. I really wasn't. Like, Fetty was my homie, and we were all just, not talking shit about jazz, but just like, oh my God, like watching this, whole act of, the whole Euro step and all that stuff. And I was, I told you I was feeling myself, and like I was on that run. I'm like, man, I don't care. I'll do whatever. I was like, if I strike him out, I'm going to do Euro step. Like, just joking. And I don't know why I did it. Like, it's crazy that I did it, to be honest. Like, it was super out of pocket, especially like how big he is now and how good he is. I'm like, damn, like, it was all good though. It was funny, and but I didn't think anything of it. I did it in third inning or whatever, and I mean that was my like viral moment. It's pretty sad that's all I got.
It's not the worst though. That's who you are, man. You strike a guy out, you're a competitor. You want to get in his face a little bit.
Yeah, it was funny. So I mean, me and him talked about it. It was cool. It was all good. The next day, he was all for the clout. So that's what he told me. He's like, it was sick, bro. He's like, you see everybody comment. I'm like, yeah, dude. Whatever. It's all good.
That's pretty iconic moment. And like he said, some of the people commenting, LeBron retweeted it. He said, like, this is amazing. This is what sports are all about.
Yeah, that's my highlight right there is Bron. I'm a huge Bron fan, so that was super tight.
Do you all stay in touch?
Yeah. We text all the time, man.
Awesome. That's your boy.
It was so crazy.
So, now we've talked plenty about your playing career and all the success that you found there. Now, as you kind of transition from being a professional athlete into the business career, I know you've been doing some work with Jason Black and with Artisan Signature Homes. Do you like to talk a little bit about that deal and what you've got going there?
Yeah, it's awesome, man. So that transition from sports to kind of the real world is, it was weird. I mean, in a sense, like, you're trying to just figure out what you want to do. And I had a bunch of lunches with people, I mean, not a bunch, but, sat down and just kind of talked about their careers and what they do and if I had any interest in it. And Jason's been so cool to me, man. Like, we were golf buddies and we play golf all the time together. And, him building these houses, I'm like, man, this is really cool. I'm really interested in what you do. Just following him around and, seeing what him and Jimmy have created with Artisan is super, super cool. And at least I thought so. So they're giving me an opportunity, we got a little renovation division going, and we're going to start doing some renovations. And obviously they're doing well, so it'll be fun. It's fun to learn from guys of success like that.
Absolutely, and that's really the whole point of this series right here is to be with people of success and learn from their stories and their experiences. And yeah, Jason Black and his wife as well, Gretchen Black. She's got her interior design company going. I see it all over social media.
Yeah, man, they got an awesome following, and that space that they're in, and they've really done a great job in this market, and building their brand up. And Jimmy and Jason both, man, it's cool to learn from somebody. And I was telling them the other day, man, it's like I really enjoy being with you guys and learning from you guys, and it's a crazy industry and it's a lot of fun, and I'm really excited to dive into it.
Yeah, and as well as that, you just talked about how he's been able to mentor you and teach you things as you work into this new space. Another mentor that we talk about on the show is Eric Wood, and I know he's been another guy that's kind of helped you navigate this new time in your life. Can you kind of speak to him and how he's been able to help you so far?
Man, Eric's my dude, man. I mean, living neighbors with Eric. It's Eric is such a unique individual. The way he connects with people, the way he just carries himself. He's an awesome guy, and he's been great to me, man. Like just our friendship, we have so much in common. We always are playing golf, playing pickleball, or competing at something, and then we'll hang out and grab dinners and stuff. He's just been awesome to me, man. I appreciate Eric so much.
And so having those mentors and being able to learn from them and now having some experience yourself, what advice would you have for athletes as they kind of transition out of sports and into business?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I don't have a lot of experience. I'm early in the stages, but just, find somebody that you like to work with or you like to be around. I mean, like just being with Jason and Jimmy, and Artisan so far has been awesome, and just, working with people you like. I mean, obviously you probably don't always get that opportunity, but having connections and having people in, your city or wherever you're from and and would like to work with. Don't be scared to try something different and to accept a challenge. And like, I don't know, much about this stuff at all, but it's like, I'm going to learn, I'm going to be, present and, learn as much as I can and grow and try to help everybody around me and be an asset to the business.
And I would say you have a huge advantage in that regard, just with some of the experiences and the values that you've gone through and the things you've learned in your baseball career. Like I know you said specifically with the culture they had at the University of Louisville, where everybody's just trying to get better and work towards something. Having that experience and working towards something with a group is super, super valuable as you move into business. What are some of the things that you specifically learned in your athletic career that you've seen translate not only to business, but just your life as a person? Now you're a father, you're a husband. So what are some of those things that you've taken from your athletic career?
Probably just, the people skills aspect of it, of just like, you're in so many different rooms and with different people and different cultures even. It's like, it's crazy to have met all those people and to try to, navigate friendships and relationships with all those types of people. So, and I don't think business is any different. I think it's all relationship and, not all, but a lot of relationship driven. It's like, I got an opportunity from a relationship. It's like, and that's awesome. So I would just challenge people to, just be kind and talk to everybody and, don't be scared to ask other people's stories. It's not always about like yourself. You know what I'm saying? And like, I've always tried to do that and, have just like a nice conversation with people, you don't know or you're getting to know, and just, it's been nice. Like I try to build my network out and try to be friends with everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Engaging with people is super, super important. And I think the most interesting people are the ones that ask, the most questions and learn from other people.
No doubt.
So before we wrap things up, we have our DashClip Phone a Friend segment. DashClip is a wallet company that produces lifestyle products that are accessible and durable. So for our DashClip Phone a Friend segment, who are you going to be calling today?
I guess it's only fitting to try to get a hold of Mr. Wood.
We might as well. Eric Wood. He's been getting a lot of He's been getting a lot of love in this episode. We might as well give him a call.
We're gonna try him on FaceTime.
Yeah, we might as well.
We'll see if he'll answer.
Recording this in the evening, so he may be a little busy.
There he is.
Here he is. Eric, how are we doing? We're live on Behind the Grind right now.
What'd you say?
He said we're live on Behind the Grind right now, bro.
All right, what you got for me?
I've got a question for you. 9 holes of golf. Let's say we're playing here at Hurstbourne. Who's winning through 9 holes, you or Josh Rogers?
I'll take myself
Oh
always.
my gosh.
I mean, it's a roller coaster ride. If we play 10 times, I'll get him 6 times, but he'll blow me out twice.
So you're a little more consistent of a player, you think?
I'm consistently average. Josh has high highs and low lows.
That's fair. Fair.
That's fair. He said he's still improving his game. He's got a long time.
Oh, we're grinders.
Yeah, we're grinders. I'm in my first year post playing career, so we gotta step it up.
No doubt.
Well, Eric, thank you so much for your time. I see you're eating. I'll let you get back to it. I love the confidence.
All right, say hi to Josh and Will.
What's up, Garrett?
What's up, Garrett? What's up, Grace?
We got Grace and Garrett on the phone, his 2 kids.
All right, thanks, bro. See.
He's got some.
He's not winning, bro. He's tripping.
It's curious what you thought about that.
He's not winning.
He thinks you're too high. You're too high. You're too low.
Eric and your dad, big handicap guys. Like you gotta play with the gin. We gotta play with the shots. Your dad's the worst. The worst. He will make sure the game is advantage tee.
Oh no, yeah,
advantage tee on the whole one, and I love playing it. It's so much fun.
Since I was a kid, we'd be playing ping pong, and he'd give himself a fair advantage.
No, he doesn't.
Somehow, every single time. We'd do a ping pong tournament, and he's picking the teams.
That's so funny. That's what they always give him. They always give him shit, dude. They're always like, "Oh, Troy's always got to have the game." But hey, he's a grinder out there. You got to watch out for your dad on the golf course. You got to watch out for him.
I need to get out there with him.
You got to watch out for him. He'll get you.
Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. Josh, you've been an unbelievable guest with your insight and some of your storytelling, and it's been a great time sitting here talking to you.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yes, sir. Well, the Shady Rays Hints of the Week will be up on social media later this week for you guys to guess our next week's guest appearance. But for now, this has been Behind the Grind. I am your host, Will Hanke. Keep on grinding.